Madam Speaker, on June 27th, we will mark 1 year since our friends on the other side of the Hill in the United States Senate passed a bipartisan immigration reform bill. 4 senators from each party worked together to get a bill introduced on April 16th of last year. By May, the Judiciary Committee was debating and marking it up, and by June, it was headed to the Senate floor. Then after debate and many amendments, it was voted on by the full Senate. 68 out of 100 senators voted to replace illegal immigration with legal immigration, legalize millions of people who live and work in the U.S., and secure our immigration system in the workplace and, yes, at the border. Madam Speaker, almost a year with no serious movement forward on immigration reform in the House, I'm beginning to wonder whether Republicans will get serious about immigration before they run out of time. Well, I want to be helpful, so I've done a little calculating. Including today, we have 34 legislative days before the July 4th recess. And, Madam Speaker, let's be honest. If Republicans have not gotten an immigration bill seriously rolling down the tracks by the time we break for Independence Day, Republicans might as well just fold up the tent they're always talking about. One thing's for sure, Republicans won't be pitching a tent at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue anytime soon. I talk to Republicans and they know the truth. If Republicans don't work with Democrats and bring an immigration bill to the floor, they're giving up on a chance to stand for justice, a sense of peace, and fairness for immigrants until after the 2016 presidential election. That means Republicans will have to head into 2016 presidential election as the party that blocked immigration reform that would have finally brought justice to immigrant communities across our nation. You will have said no to the dreams of dreamers, and no to millions of families, and no to communities in every city across our country. Oh, and Mr. Speaker, if you think the Republican Party alone controls the future of 11 million undocumented immigrants, you will be sadly disappointed. If you don't act in the next 34 days, if you refuse to give the president a bill he can sign because you say you don't trust him to enforce immigration law, even though he has spent more money and deported more people than any president before him, I believe he will act without you. He has alternatives under existing law. There are concrete ways within existing laws to help keep families together and spare U.S. citizens from losing their wives, their husbands, and their children to deportation, in spite of your lack of action. And I believe the president is going to use those tools. I saw it in his eyes when I met with him. He didn't run for office so that he could deport 2 million people and put thousands of American children in foster care. He's heartbroken by the pain deportations cause. Do you think he will simply sit by and do nothing because you refuse to act? The Republicans threaten lawsuits and even impeachment if the president acts to spare American families being broken apart by deportation. But this president will act if you refuse to. And the country will rally behind him because that's what Americans do in the face of a humanitarian crisis. And the Republicans threaten to impeach the president? What's new, Mr. Speaker? Look, you got to remember, for the first 3 or 4 years he was president, leaders in the Republican Party, I mean presidential candidates and entire cable TV networks, questioned the president's own immigration status. We had birthers denying the president was born in America. They questioned whether he was an undocumented immigrant himself. They demanded to see his papers. Now we have deportation deniers falsely suggesting President Obama is not enforcing the law. Oh, he's really not deporting people. They say that's all fake, something Obama, Univision, and Telemundo cooked up. The president knows the kind of pain that congressional inaction has caused for families and children. The president wants to be an emancipator, not a deporter, and he will act if he has to. If you give him no choice, this president is going to take charge himself, as well he should. So once again, Mr. Speaker, we offer a lifeline to Republicans. Let's work together to pass a bill before the president, faced with no other choice, takes action himself. You have 34 legislative days left until July 4th, and you better make good use of them. The American people are waiting.
Gentleman yields back.